Minecraft has been around for many years now. It is probably older than a lot of the people watching this video, yet constantly adds new features, mobs, items, mechanics to keep things fresh. And like clockwork, players occasionally return for their 2-week Minecraft phase after a big update, and then disappear until the next burst of enthusiasm about the game hits. But unsurprisingly, not every feature Mojang adds ends up being meaningful.
Yeah, there's a lot of useless
are
features.
Game changers, while the existence of some are rather questionable. Mojang has a habit of adding new items that serve a singular niche purpose that most of us never end up actually touching.
Exactly. Like all those items that he just showed. What is the use for any of them?
Instead of enriching older mechanics, Mojang often chooses to add something new and shiny, leaving outdated features to rot in irrelevance. Two of the most famously meaningless features are horses and minecarts, which used to be useful when they were first added into the game, but over time, through the addition of different, better modes of transportation, they completely lost relevance, and now are more of a gimmick than anything. But with the recent revamp of leads, I'm positively optimistic that they will actually start giving these features extended uses. Until then, I'm going to take the matters into my own hands and give useless Minecraft features a purpose. I'll be going through these useless features one by one, starting with those that at least have some niche uses, all the way down to the ones that are completely—
What is that? Poisonous potato? Yeah, there's no point in poisonous potatoes. I want to see what he does for each of these features. Oh yeah, Cauldron, a clock. Yeah, facts! Wait, I really want to see this.
And the first feature that needs a revamp is the clock. Clocks have been in Minecraft forever, and they do exactly what you would expect: tell the time. Other than telling the time, clocks can also be used to distract piglins. And sure, on paper they sound kind of useful. I mean, how else are you supposed to know if it's day or night before crawling out of a cave, right? But in practice, most people don't actually use them. Experienced players rarely need to check the time, and by the time you can craft a clock, you're usually strong enough to leave a cave at night without worrying anyway. Most of the time, clocks end up as decorations, which, fair enough, is a valid use, just not a compelling one. So how do we make clocks more useful? First off, let's embrace the fact that clocks are mostly used as decoration and give the player the ability to place a clock directly onto the wall without an item frame.
Okay, yeah, I like that.
Immediately looks much cleaner and much cooler, but we're just getting started. If you right click a clock while holding it, it saves the current in-game time. Now, whenever you place that clock on a wall, it acts like an alarm clock. At that exact same time each Minecraft day, it sends out a redstone pulse. Hook it up to a bell, and now you've got an actual working alarm. And here's the cool part. You can even place it down on the floor, and it orients itself just like a mob head or an armor stand, based on the direction you're facing.
Y'all like that?
Way you can build an actual alarm clock setup with a bell attached to it.
Yes.
If you thought that's it, you'd be mistaken. If you place the clock on the floor and attach a bell to it, you can right-click it repeatedly to crank it. Each click adds 5 seconds to the countdown.
This is fire!
You can even shift right-click to add an entire minute to it. Once it hits 0, the bell rings. This would essentially be a simple in-world stopwatch. And yes, there's even a survival use to it. When you accidentally summon the warden, you can place down the clock, crank it, and run. When it rings, the warden hears it, gets distracted, and walks over.
I don't know why though. The only problem is, like, I don't know if this looks like it fits within vanilla Minecraft. That's the only problem.
Upon finding it, the warden breaks the clock in frustration, buying you precious time to escape or sneak by. Suddenly, the clock isn't just decorative, it's a redstone tool and a survival gadget all rolled into one. So yeah, clocks aren't completely useless, but they could definitely need extra functionality. Another item in a similar boat is the Cauldron.
Bro, these are actually useful on Bedrock.
It's not totally pointless, but it's one of those features that feels unfinished. Cauldrons actually do have a decent number of uses. You can use them to remove dye from leather armor,
does that work on Java? I don't even know if that okay, he's on Java, so yeah, I guess that works on Java.
Banners, and even shulker boxes.
What? I never knew that! No, I swear no one in this chat knew that. Did anyone know you could do all 3 of those things?
You can use them to remove dye from leather armor, banners, and even shulker boxes. They can extinguish you if you're on fire, even in the nether, and they will collect rainwater if left out during a storm.
I didn't even know that either!
You can even store lava and powdered snow in the cauldrons. On paper, they sound pretty versatile, but here's the thing.
I didn't know you could put powdered snow. Okay. I didn't know any of that stuff, but all that stuff is low-key a little bit useless. It's not that helpful. I don't know if it's useless, but it's just not that helpful.
Cauldrons can already strip color from a few select
Everyone
items.
knows that?
Why not expand it to more blocks or items? Let us wash dye off of wool, terracotta, stained glass, candles, basically anything craftable with dye.
That's an amazing idea. Bro, sometimes I'll kill black sheep or gray sheep. It doesn't have to be black. I'll kill a brown sheep, any color sheep. And I'm like, I don't want this colored wool. I want it to be white because it seems like white sheep are most common, and I don't have enough wool to make a bed. So if I had a cauldron with some water, I could easily turn the black wool into white wool and be able to craft whatever I wanted to craft.
It'd be a convenient way to undo mistakes or repurpose materials without needing to craft from scratch every time.
like that.
But we're not done yet. Cauldrons now become mini crafting stations for slime, honey, and magma blocks. Toss in 4 of each corresponding item and you've got yourself a full block right there in the cauldron.
Okay.
And speaking of honey, place a cauldron beneath a bee nest and it will slowly fill up with honey. Just
Boom, I like that. I don't even know how to get honey legit in the game, but that looks good.
Like a lava dripping into a cauldron from above. It's a small tweak that makes honey farming way less tedious and way more intuitive.
I like that.
That's not all though. Water in cauldrons now freezes in cold biomes, turning into ice, and you can finally place a hopper underneath to collect what's inside. Plus, dispensers now work with cauldrons, opening up new redstone possibilities for automated lava, ice, or honey farms. And to top it all off, let's bring Bedrock and Java cauldrons into full parity. Let players fill cauldrons with potions, which can apply the effects to anyone who jumps in, and give us the ability to...
Does that work on Bedrock? Does that work on Bedrock? You can fill a cauldron with potions and then you jump in and then you get the effect of whatever potion you put inside of the cauldron? I never knew that!
Dye the water.
There's so much that I don't know.
We can dip items directly into the color we want without the need for crafting tables. So yeah, cauldrons are already pretty useful.
Oh, it doesn't work.
With just a couple tweaks, they could become a powerhouse of utility and automation. But while cauldrons still have a few decent uses, the same cannot really be said about goat horns.
Goat horns, yes, bro. That would be fire if these were useful.
There are 8 different goat horns in the game, each with its own sound effect, and that's about it. You blow into it and a cool noise happens and nothing else. Sure.
They're not even that loud, bro. They should make them louder and they should make them stretch like thousands of blocks away. You can hear a goat horn. Wait, that would kind of be cool.
Some of them only drop from screaming goats, which makes them a bit rare and collectible. But beyond that, there's not real incentive to actually use them. So I thought, what if goat horns did something? What if they weren't just noisemakers, but tactical tools? Now if you blow a goat horn during a village raid, it gives nearby iron golems special buffs. Depending on which horn you use, the golem could become faster, stronger, tankier, or even hit with increased attack speed.
What do you guys think about that? Should that be added, yes or no?
Each horn gives a unique effect, turning your horn into a strategic support item and giving raids a whole new dynamic. But the horn's use doesn't stop there. You can now attach a goat horn to a note block, and it will play the horn sound when triggered. Pair that with
Okay, I like that.
wires or pressure plates and boom, instant alarm system for your base.
I like
you can
that.
even
I kinda
attach
like
it to a
that.
clock to really sell the alarm clock vibe. Visually, goat horns can now be used as decorative blocks. Place one on the surface, insert a torch, and you've got a medieval style lamp. Hang a few from the ceiling and you've got yourself a pretty stylish chandelier. And for combat use, you can now combine a goat horn with any helmet using a smithing table to create a Viking style helmet. While wearing one, sprinting into mobs will knock them back and
I don't know about this one. This one,
deal a bit of damage. Perfect for pushing away
These are fire ideas. You guys like these?
Gaining space in a tight fight. So yeah, goat horns, they went from bland and boring to a multifunctional item.
Y'all
that's
like
actually
these.
worth tracking down. But while goat horns are at least cool, there's nothing cool about tipped arrows. Tipped arrows come equipped with various
arrows are
effects,
fire.
things like healing, poison, night vision, and when you shoot a mob or player with one, that effect gets applied to the target. Sounds useful, right? Well, not really, because in practice, most of these arrows just don't get used. The good effects like regeneration or healing are basically pointless.
True.
I mean, who's going to realistically shoot themselves with a healing arrow in survival mode? So here's the fix. Instead of only applying the effect to the exact target hit, tipped arrows should create a small area of effect cloud on impact, similar to lingering potions. Now you just need to shoot near your target instead of hitting them dead on. Picture this, your friend's about to die running away from a group of monsters in the cave. You shoot a healing arrow in his path, which saves him, while at the same time damaging undead mobs. So you essentially kill 2 birds with 1 stone. Even for non-combat uses, this tweak makes a huge difference. Instead of carrying around multiple night vision potions, you could just bring a stack of night vision arrows and share the effect with your whole group in one shot. A simple change, but it finally gives tipped arrows a reason to be used. It would also make it so that you don't have to shoot the arrows up and wait to get hit for the effect to apply. Instead, you could just shoot underneath you, which would make it much easier to apply the effect directly to yourself without actually having to take damage. And in a situation where you're actively being chased down by a horde of mobs, this could come in handy. This change wouldn't all of a sudden revolutionize tipped arrows, but it would at least make them a bit more useful to actually consider using them. But an update to tipped arrows alone wouldn't be enough. That's where fletching tables come into play. The fletching table has been in the game for a while now, and
Facts.
unlike something like the smithing table that has over time been given a use, the fletching table has remained useless. You can use the fletching table to give a villager the fletcher job, but the block itself doesn't have any functionalities. That's why the fletching table could really benefit from giving the player the ability to craft arrows with different functionalities. You could perhaps use the fletching table to combine potion effects into a single arrow, or make the effect
Didn't he give this?
or
I'm pretty sure he said this in another video.
longer, or finally give the player the ability to make a quiver which will act similarly to how bundles act, just with arrows, so you wouldn't have to clog your inventory with various types of different arrows. There's a lot of potential for a future fletching table update, but the same cannot be said about Ocelots. For years, Ocelots used to be the only way to obtain cats in Minecraft, but after Mojang decided to split cats and Ocelots into entirely separate mobs, the Ocelot was left behind, and as it stands now, it's almost completely useless.
Wait, you're telling me if you try to tame an Ocelot, it doesn't work? I never knew that. Wait, what? Also, that did make me realize there's a such thing as cats with no owners? I never knew that either, bro. I always thought it started as an Ocelot, and you tame it, and it becomes a cat.
Today, Ocelots are little more than ambience. They roam the jungle, adding atmosphere, occasionally hunting chickens or baby turtles. In fact, they're the only mob in the game with the ability to sprint. You can even feed them raw fish to earn their trust, but that's where the usefulness ends. Trusting an Ocelot doesn't unlock any behavior, benefit, or bond. They just continue existing, now with slightly more tolerance for you. So I gave them a new purpose. Now, if you breed 2 Ocelots, the baby will grow up trusting the player who fed it. A trusted Ocelot will become a passive protector. Instead of fighting hostile mobs directly, it will act more like a deterrent, chasing away nearby mobs and hissing to alert the player of danger. Think of it as an early warning system and a living scarecrow packaged into one. This gives players a reason to actually engage with Ocelots again, and finally gives them a role that neither cats nor dogs fill up. Not every companion needs to be a fighter. Sometimes the best help is the one that stops danger before it even started. But while Ocelots were at one point useful before being sidelined, the sniffer has kind of always been useless. Let's talk about it. Sniffer eggs can only be found inside suspicious
I don't
sand
even know what they do. I think they sniff up flowers. That's all I know.
Gravel from archaeological dig sites. A pretty cool mechanic on its own. Once hatched, the sniffer grows into this massive dinosaur-looking creature that slowly wanders around and occasionally digs up some ancient seeds. These seeds can then be used to grow 2 types of ornamental plants, which to be fair do look gorgeous. But let's be real, an entire mob dedicated to sniffing out 2 decorative flower seeds? That feels like serious overkill. Dumb. It didn't need to be a new mob, but now that we have one, let's make it matter. Why are sniffers limited to just unearthing seeds? They are ancient creatures tied to the archaeology system. They should be more than just glorified flower farmers. So let's expand their digging potential. What if sniffers could uncover other archaeological items like pottery shards or even rare loot like ancient smithing templates? Instead of being a novelty mob for plant collectors, sniffers could become walking, living detectors. You bring one along to your dig site and over time it sniffs out buried items for you. It could also be given the ability to dig up different items in different biomes. Not only would this give the mob purpose, but it would tie in perfectly with the game's growing focus on exploration and ancient history. While the sniffer at least has a couple of decorative plants to offer, the tropical fish is painfully useless. It's no secret that the tropical fish item
you can eat those. It's just regular fish. What's so crazy? What's so bad about tropical fish?
One of the most useless items in Minecraft. You can't cook it, you can't feed it to ocelots or cats, and as a food source, it's downright terrible. The only thing it has going for it is that it looks a little cooler than the other raw fish variants, and that's about it. Technically, you can feed tropical fish to dolphins, and when you do, they will guide you to a nearby shipwreck, just like they will do.
What? No, wait. Is this a feature? Is this in the game, or is this a new idea he thought about? I never heard of this before.
Other fish, but that feels like a missed opportunity. If you're giving a dolphin a tropical fish, wouldn't it make way more sense for it to guide you to a coral reef instead?
What? I never knew that.
That's why I would tweak the mechanic. If you feed the dolphin a tropical fish, it should first try to lead you to a nearby coral reef biome. Only if there's no reef nearby should it fall back to leading you to a shipwreck. Not only does this give the tropical fish item an actual purpose, but it also adds a nice layer of logic and variety to dolphin behavior, and it makes it way easier to locate rare worm ocean biomes, which are notoriously hard to find. It's a small change, but one that makes both tropical fish and dolphins more meaningful in the game, and gives players another tool for exploration.
That's not common knowledge. How is that common knowledge?
The last and probably most useless feature in this entire list has to be the poisonous potato.
Boom. What smart idea is he gonna think of for the poisonous potato? What is gonna? I feel like there's no way he's gonna think of anything smart for this.
Potatoes are easily one of the most uneventful items in the game. They have no real utility other than occasionally poisoning you when eaten. I get that it's kind of meant to represent a parasite item in potato farming, but it doesn't make sense that it's the only vegetable with a poisonous variant. Why not poisonous carrots or spoiled beetroot? If it's in the game just to clog up inventories and get tossed away, then let's at least make that process more interesting. First, make it compostable. That seems like the bare minimum. Since it's a trash item anyway, let it do something, however minor, instead of just sitting there uselessly. Second, let it be used to freeze the growth of baby mobs. It would be a neat way to preserve baby.
Oh, you can feed it to the babies, and they'll just stay babies forever. That's a cool idea. Actually, that's a really cool idea, but it doesn't make sense. Like IRL, if you feed a baby a poisonous potato, they're not gonna stay a baby. They're just gonna die.
Baby mobs as pets or decorations without resorting to commands. If you want to keep your puppy in its baby state forever, feed the puppy a poisonous potato and it will stay a puppy forever. And finally, let's get weird with it. Villagers will now actively collect any poisonous potatoes they harvest, and if your reputation with them drops too low, they will start throwing them at you as an act of resistance. Imagine walking into a village after committing your usual crimes against humanity, only to be pelted with poisonous potatoes in protest. It's a subtle, funny way to punish players for mistreating villagers, and it gives this otherwise worthless item a unique function. So yeah, they're still mostly useless,
like that idea?
But with just a few tweaks, it could become an item that's funny, has minor functionality to it, and is surprisingly full of personality. Considering the latest update to leads, it's clear that Mojang has the ability to breathe new life into old features with just a few thoughtful
everybody
tweaks.
subscribe to
Those
this
small
guy.
changes
Oh
can
my!
end up being
Has he gained? How many subs has he gained recently?
You'll see more of these underused mechanics.
Anyways,
get
everybody
the attention
subscribe to
they
this
deserve.
guy.
Now there are many more features in the game.
He is such a good
that could
YouTuber. He
benefit
makes
a lot from
such
a
unique
revamp.
content.
But I wanted to keep the video concise and at the same time bring across the point that it
and drop a like on his video.